Hello everyone, this is the Hunter Collector here with another Hot Toys review, and here we have the Marvel Spider-Man 2 video game Hot Toys exclusive Spider-Man 2. Advanced 2.0 suit. So I've had this guy for a while. I really like this figure. He's like one of the standouts in my Spider-Man shelf. It's an awesome figure. So but let's just go over to the box first. It might be a little worn down because, like I said, I've had this guy for a little bit and I've already opened the box, so it may look a little worn. But the first picture in the front is the is Spider-Man in his Advanced 2.0 suit with some symbiotes crawling up his arm here, and it looks like it's the little art in the front of the game box. You see some blue holographic stuff like waves just kind of going through in the background. Hot Toys video game. Down the bottom, 1/6 scale Peter Parker Advanced Suit 2.0 collectible figure. Marvel Spider-Man 2 logo on the top. You see a little bit wear there. You get some symbiote kind of seeping through here on the side. It's like a glossy black, which is pretty cool. And Hot Toys exclusive red and gold sticker on the box. And then on the side of the box we get the rest of Spidey here. So you get his knee kind of coming out there. You see his hand with some with some carbon fiber padding. You get more symbiote details, which is raised glossy black detail, and then Hot Toys down the bottom with that white logo. More of that blue wavy type of background going on there in the back. And then here's the back with all the legal stuff. Marvel Spider-Man 2. You get more of that black symbiote detailing, like I've said before, raised and glossy black. And then on the other side, you get Spider-Man's hand doing the thwipping motion with the symbiote webbing coming out. You get more of that wavy blue background stuff in the back, and then you get this little spot here with like a web. And then on the top here, you get Marvel Spider-Man 2 with the blue in the background, and then the bottom, same deal. And then this is the slip cover, so it'll probably give me a second to take this off. Here's the box without the slips cover, and it's pretty cool. You get a little preview of Spidey and his accessories. You get blue all the way around. You get some like ultraviolet or rainbow like glitchy effects going on the edges, and you get like a symbiote, a little bit of symbiote kind of seeping through on the clear plastic portion. Marvel Spider-Man 2 down in the middle, Hot Toys logo down the right, and then on the right side here get like a cool little picture or graphic detailing with some glitchy effects. You get like a spider burst effect coming out through the middle. You get Miles Morales' logo here on the top above what it says 1/6 scale Peter Parker Advanced 2.0 suit. You get a picture in the background with Spidey from the video game. More of that blue detail effects with the wave kind of in the background. Here's the back, which is pretty cool. Peter Parker Advanced 2.0 suit, Marvel Spider-Man 2. This looks like it's an actual picture of the figure, I think, with that little glitchy effect going on in the background. I do like the way that they designed these boxes for the Spider-Man 2 video game. It says Spider and then hyphen Man 2 in the back, like it kind of just switches angles. And here's the other side, kind of the same thing as the other side on the side. So, yeah, it's pretty much the same thing, except you get a better, clearer picture of Spider-Man, but it's not like colorized. It kind of looks like it's like echoing. So it's like the colors kind of echo on the other side, or to the side a little bit. So that's pretty cool. But besides that, let's get Spider-Man and his accessories out. So first we're going to start off with the accessories, which is a buttload. As you can tell, it barely all fits on my screen. At least the base doesn't. So I'm going to first start off with the base because it's the more like common thing in all Hot Toys. So you get this little hexagonal base here with some gloss black on the sides. You get some glossy effects with the spider here, which is a white. It's kind of hard to tell because the lighting isn't working out too great here. You get some like white detailings, like goop effect on the sides here. Marvel Spider-Man 2, which is also glossy. You get this like little textured effect with the red spot here, where it fades from black to red on the space. Advanced Suit 2.0 with the blue edge, with the white edge along the actual like platform piece here. Back, you get this little port here. This is your little flight stand, which bends in all sorts of directions. You can screw this off if you want to replace it with a different stand, because I know Hot Toys has different flight poles. But what you want to do is just pop that in like that, and then you get this little clamp piece here with some rubber on the sides, but I would recommend not doing it because it can damage your figures. I usually use it and then put like the legs through them. I'll display that for you guys, and then you get this little rubber part for the back side of the back, and then you get this little piece here. You get a screw. If it's too loose on the flight pole, you can tighten it up. So what you want to do to put it on, pop this off, slide that on. It's a little loose, but I'm not going to worry about it really. Pop this on, and then there's your flight pole or display base. And then we'll get to the actual accessories, which he has a bunch of. So yeah, first we'll start with the web effects, starting off with the part where I messed up on. This is actually supposed to be one piece. When I first got this figure, it snapped on me. I'm not a big fan of it on this web effect, but it's supposed to look like a spiral effect, and it's supposed to look like that if it were together. And it's supposed to go kind of like sit on the backside of Spider-Man's hands, as if he's swinging, and he has like that little bit extra piece, which I'll display it, but he's gonna be missing like half of it like this, so which is unfortunate. I might have him displayed with this actually instead. So that's one web effect. And then this is a new array of webs, not like the old ones where, you know, it comes with that rubber or spongy protector pieces. This is a whole different thing. So you get this really long white webbing here. It's not clear plastic or anything like that. It's like painted white. You get some strands of webs just kind of hanging off a little bit. It's very inconsistent, which is really cool. And you get this little port piece here, which is where you're gonna put into the hands, which I'll show in a bit. Or actually, no, this is the one where you would have him holding. You would have him holding onto this, and then you would have this kind of hanging off like that in his hand. This is now where you put the web port, or you don't put it in the hand. This one is though, where he's like just shooting out. You get this little ball of web here where it's like it's supposed to do impact on people or stick to a wall when it hits. You get a little splatter effect at the beginning, and you get this little port piece, a little bit hanging off to make it look like it's, you know, shooting out of the web shooter. This is where you'd put it into the hand. Again, painted white, so pretty cool. And then for the symbiote webbing, so this one's painted black, glossy black. It looks like an arrow, kinda, at the point. It looks a little more sharper, more violent looking, I guess. Splat effect at the end. A little port piece, and then a little bit hanging off to make it look like it's shooting out of his web shooter. And then another symbiote web effect where there's like 3 different strands. Another thing I also messed up on, this is not actually supposed to come apart. So when you have this thing, make sure this does not do that. Luckily I have another one of these, so that way, you know, if this thing ever craps out on me, I have another one from the symbiote Spider-Man suit. You get some strands just kind of hanging off here and there throughout the webs. Again, 3 strands kind of connect together. Little port piece to put in the hand, a little bit hanging off, splat effect. So yeah, this one's pretty cool. And then you get another really long white web here, which is the one where you could also make him look like he's swinging off of. And it's more curved like, so that's pretty cool. A little bit of strand hanging off there. I'll display this for you guys at some point when I'm doing like the picture part and kind of going over how I feel about the figure. I'm just whacking stuff all over the place. And then you get this little little symbiote piece here, which goes onto Spidey's hand. This is pretty cool. It goes along his forearm, and this kind of sits on his hand. So yeah, this one's pretty cool. This is kind of random, the glossy black. Get a little bit of spacing in between there. I think that's where you're supposed to possibly put your web shoot spot in. I'll show you how to put this stuff on. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And then you get some extra eye lenses here, so you get more squinted eyes. He does have a pair of eyes already on him, but I will display them just kind of show the difference. But you get a glossy white mesh effect in there. Kind of see the little mesh pieces there, and then you know, like a camera shutter. You kind of see how it's supposed to squint and kind of shutter, so it's pretty cool. It's magnets. I'll show you how to put them on again. Little cool accessory that this figure comes with is a spider bot, and it's the new one, not from Spider-Man 2, not like the circular one. This is like actually shaped like a spider, and these are spider bots that you collect around the city. This one's got like sculpted webbing on it. In the red spots, you get blue eyes for it, which shiny blue eyes. You get the white spider. You get a little bit of silver in the middle part of where the body and the head is. You get like a little nozzle piece where he shoots the web. You get like a shiny blue. It's not a light, but I think it's supposed to be a light in the game. Some red joints inside there. Blue legs, silver legs, and the spots near closer to the body, and then you get silver tipped legs, some blue accents along the sides of the body here, and you get some sculpted details. It's pretty cool. You get a little display spot here, which does kind of, you know, you can make it look like it's jumping at you, kind of sprinting or whatever. I think the legs do not move, so it does not have any articulation. It's just kind of there to make it look cool by Spidey. So yeah, pretty cool accessory. And then you get these back pieces here, which go on Spidey. I'll show you how to put them on, but I despise these things because they're a pain in the butt to take out. But you get some mesh detail. You get a little bit of spider going on here. Same deal on the other side, but opposite directions. This one kind of sits on the top sides of his backs. This is for the ports if you want to cover up the holes if you're not going to use the spider legs, but I don't use the spider legs. I kind of leave them open. I can see why some people would want to use these because pictures and stuff. But me personally, in my display base, I'm not going to put them on because I'm worried about ruining these and then the figure as well. And I also occasionally would probably like to put on the legs. But yeah, and then you get another one of these, but the opposite side flipped like this. This is supposed to be on the top part where it's red, and you get 4 spider legs coming out. So those are the back ports, and you get these web wings here, which is pretty cool. You get these little magnets on each side of them. They're see-through, clear plastic, but they kind of do a little paint job, or like the way it's kind of sculpted, I guess, kind of helps make it faded. It's kind of like a meshy type of texture, and they do a little bit of like paint job on the edges where the webs kind of connect to make it more, make it seem like it's like more depth to it. These kind of sit underneath his armpit. Again, I will display them. These things are pointy as well, but not like sharp that like actually do harm to you, but they're pointy. Same deal on the other side. Pretty cool. And then we'll go over the hands and then we'll go over the legs. So you get kind of like open, wide, relaxed hands for Spidey here. It kind of looks like wall crawling hands, but they're not. I guess it's just relaxed hands. You get some black webbing along the fingers. It's sculpted inwards, not raised. You get the padding on his forehand here, carbon fiber, white. You get some separate pieces to make it seem like he's able to actually move his joints. Knuckle pads as well. And then you get a cool little detail in the palms with some padding, and then a little button for him to shoot his web shooter. And then, some sculpted details for the fabric. You can barely tell, but there are some sculpted parts there. See along the thumb. So you get a pair of like the relaxed hands. They're pretty much the same. I think they're the same, kind of. I don't know. The finger positioning might be a little different, but yeah. And then you get two, I guess, even more relaxed hands. I guess I would call these relaxed hands, and these would be the ones where you would have him like kind of winding up his punch. So you'd use this hand and then a fist hand if he's like lunging at you and about to punch you. So I guess I would consider these more relaxed hands because it's kind of like, he's not spreading them, like doing, flexing his hand, I guess. So you get to see the fingers more curled in. Same deal. You get the padded palm detail going on here with the web shooter. I kind of wish that they would kind of like paint the inside a little bit more on the palms. I think there's a little bit of detail that they could paint in there. And then as you can see in the fingers, it's not quite painted all the way through actually. I don't know if it's, they would have, that had to be on them because I don't have this guy using these actually ever. Same deal. You get that padded portion on his forehand, knuckles, separate pieces, carbon fiber, detailing, sculpted web lines. So yeah, you get a pair of those. And then the wall crawling hands. So these are actual wall crawling hands. You can kind of see how they're supposed to be like laid flat like that. So again, palm detailing. Kind of wish that, like I said, I wish they would paint a little bit more in there. Web lines are painted in the inner part of the fingers, at least on this one. Sculpted fabric, padded palm, forehands with the white carbon fiber, separate pieces, knuckle pads. So yeah, wall crawling hands there, and then the web shooting hands. He does come with our fisted hands as well already, but these web shooting hands are pretty cool. Same deal, padded detailing on the forehand here, glassy carbon fiber white pads with the knuckle pads as well, sculpted in web lines, and then fabric as well. And then for the padded part, so as you can tell, you can't really put in your web shooting effects in, so you would have to kind of like peel. It's kind of like stuck together by two pegs there, so be careful of these. I usually like to actually I don't like to use these. I like to just automatically switch them over with this, so that way if I do want to display him with the web effect, then it's already there. So I usually like to just pop these on right when I get the figure, and then it's like that. So yeah, this is where you'd put the web effect in. That's what it kind of looks like right now. I'm just gonna leave it like that, but yeah, that's what it looks like with the web effect on. You can rotate it if you want, but for me it's just gonna pop out on me. I wonder if it's better on the white webs, just a little bit, but still kind of pops out just a little bit still. So I wish they do a little bit of a better job with the web effect attachments, to be honest. So yeah, that is the hands, and then the spider legs. So these things are huge. You get 4 of them. They're the same exact thing. You get a little port here to put in the Spidey's back. Each one of these joints do move. They're ratchet joints. So it's silver here. You get some like blue detailing here on the parts where it's supposed to peg into his back. You get to see the little ratchets here. It's kind of supposed to be like a carbon fiber looking effect with the legs, at least. So that's what it kind of looks like. You get some blue detailing. It would have been cool if there were like actual lights, but I understand why they're not, because that's a lot of work and probably would cost a buttload of money in engineering. These little joints are pretty pointy, actually. And then you get a little clear plastic at the tip here of the leg. Pretty pointy as well. Then the other side, nothing too crazy. So yeah, this joint moves that. This joint moves up and down that far. This joint moves down that far, up that far. This joint moves down that far, up that far. And then this joint moves up, down that far, up that far. And you can pretty much get it pretty much straight. If you wanted to, you could kind of mess with it weirdly if you want. And then you could curl it in. Let's see how far you could curl this thing in. You could curl it in on itself pretty much like that. So, yep, you get 4 of these. These are the same exact thing. So, yeah. So now let's get Spidey out here. And here is Spidey out here in the light box with no crazy poses. It's just standing straight up. As you can see, he does have the fist hands already. He looks badass. I do have my gripes with him, but we'll go over them here in just a second. So first, let's just talk about Spidey and the details. First, we're going to start with this head sculpt here. So it's a sculpted head. I do wish it was a fabric headpiece, so that way it kind of like connects with the neck more. He doesn't come with an extra head at all, so I don't know why they wouldn't give him a fabric mask, but oh well. But it's sculpted up lines, raised up. The texture of the mask is really good. They're sculpted in. You get his lenses here with the meshed lenses and glass effect on top. And then you get a little bit of the shutter kind of effects in the lenses there. It's kind of hard to tell. But yeah, I just wish it was an actual fabric effect. And then as you can tell, I've had this guy for a while, so when I was trying to pose him with Venom, he'd fall off of him and Venom would scrape up the back of his head sometimes. So that's why it looks like that. But I'm not sculpting with him anymore. I'm not sculpting, posing with him anymore. So, and then I might as well show you guys how to change the lenses. So they are magnet. So you just kind of push down the corner here and the lenses kind of pop out. Peel this off. And then here's the other one. And that's kind of the difference between them. This one's obviously more squinted. This one's not. So that's what it kind of looks like there. I don't really have a preference on which one I want. I kind of like to have just the default ones. So yeah, that's just me. All right, and then starting with the torso, you get the white carbon fiber spider emblem here. Kind of just goes, it stays inside the red details here. The webbing is raised up. I think it's screen printed fabric, but I think it's not like the type of fabric that could possibly get damaged easily, but I think it can get damaged, so just be careful still. I think this spider might be glued on as well, so if you have him like in that crouched position and like the kind of spider kind of like the legs kind of come out like that a little bit, I'll just be careful, but I don't think you're gonna have an issue with that really. So yeah, it's not a big deal, but I do like the red that they chose for this figure. The red for the suit and the mask for the sculpted mask do match. So I mean, I don't have a big problem with sculpted head sculpts. It's just, it probably would be nice if it was, just so that way it hides this little piece here, but it doesn't bug me that much. I will say that I think the head sculpt is a little too big for the body and maybe needs a little more neck to raise up the head. Maybe that might be the actual issue, because it kind of looks like it sits down on the shoulders a little too much. So maybe raise the head up a little bit with the neck. But this figure is awesome with the amount of detailing here. You get to see his abs here, his pecs kind of popping out there. You get some more muscle kind of showing off on the sides too. So I do like the way that they have this figure like kind of formed. Like, it's a very like tight suit on a really muscular body, like it is in the game. The shoulders are pretty much showing off pretty good there. You get some triceps kind of coming out on the arm here. So yeah, this figure is awesome with details. And then for the arms, you get the raised webs again. And then you get the blue detailing here. You get some lines going on throughout the arms here. And then same deal on the back side. You get some like different blue shades going on for the figure. And then as you can see, this is where you put in your spider legs, which I'll go over here in a bit. But yeah, and then same white carbon fiber, white spider on the back there. You get some carbon fiber padding on the edges of Spider-Man's arm here where it separates from the blue. You get this like little black detailing along the edges as well of the red to separate the blues. And then you get this like little belt piece here, I would say. You get a little bit of the carbon fiber there at the ends. Raised webbing all the way along the waist. You get a lot of seam lines throughout this figure. And then for the hands, so the forearm part, you get that padding as well. White carbon fiber padding. You get his web shooter here, which also has that little carbon fiber piece there. And then the inner part, you can see his web shooter with that like maroon red detailing and some black and some silver going on there. You get a little bit of the nozzle there, and the web shooter is kind of hard to tell. And then he came with the fist hands already, so or the web holding hands, whichever you want to call it. I know some people would rather have just regular fist hands and then have web holding hands separate. But honestly, I'm not that big of a picky person. I don't mind it. So yeah, this is where you'd have him holding the webs, knuckle padding, forearm padding, or forehand padding, white carbon fiber. You get some of that palm padding in there too. Web lines are painted in pretty good, sculpted in, and same deal on the other side. So not much to go over that. The legs, nothing too crazy. I mean, the fabric is pretty cool. You get some musculature actually going on with the thighs and then the calves there, so it's pretty cool. So different reds going on, a lot of panel lines going on throughout the figure. And then the feet, the balls of the feet are sculpted and painted, but you get this little white legal stuff on his feet. Some red details going on, some black. Get some carbon fiber going on the toes and along the shoes here. In the back, get some red here and there. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I like this suit a lot and the way that they have the musculature showing off really well in this figure. So let's go over the articulation. So his head is on the double ball jointed head. So he looks down that far, looks up pretty far. He can look left or right. I mean, you could do 360 if you wanted to. His head does pivot a lot, so that's pretty good. And then he has a top diaphragm joint there. So it's kind of, let's see here. So it goes forward just that much to kind of make him look like he's standing straight up. And then backwards that much, which makes him look like he's kind of like dodging something. And then he does have a hip joint as well. So with all those going on, he looks like he's kind of crouching forward a little bit, but not a whole lot. With all of them, he's bending backwards a lot. He does also have like a little swivel at the hips as well. So he turns left and right and can do a little bit of pivoting. Nothing too crazy. Shoulders move up that far past 90 degrees, so that's pretty good. Sits down that far. Goes forward that much. Backwards that much. He does have a bicep swivel. He does have butterfly joints and can raise as well. He has double jointed elbows, so it goes past 90 degrees. His wrists do rotate, and they're on that Hot Toys joint. So if you want to have him bending his wrists forward that much, he can. Backwards that much. And then you can also have them go side to side if you have it in the right angle. Legs can kick forward that much. Backwards that much. He does have a thigh cut. Legs can kick to the side that much. Knees bend that much, which is pretty good. He has ankle joints. So his ankles hinge down that much, up that much. You get a little bit of that padding there. So if you have it like that, it's kind of going to pinch that fabric there. They do have a little bit of pivoting in the feet, and you do have toe hinges as well. And then to attach some of these accessories to him, so this is the symbiote effect that kind of sits on his forearm here. So you can either pop his hand off and kind of just slide that on his forearm. But for me, I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of like try to carefully put it on. And then that's what it's going to look like on him there. And then I don't know if there's like a specific way to really put the web, like have it positioned. But I'm going to have it like that for right now. And then I'm going to have him with the 3 symbiote webbing piece here. And then that's what he looks like with the symbiote effect on, with the webs on him. And I guess you have to put a little more force into putting the web effects on, because now it's on there pretty good. So yeah, and then we'll go over the legs. So the legs, you get these little ports on Spidey's back there. You just kind of throw them all into his back like so. There's not really a specific leg for a spot, but yeah, that's how you attach them. So yeah, we'll just put the rest of them on. And then that's Spidey with the legs on. And he does have quite a wingspan with them when you spread them out. Like that. They kind of go all the way across my light box here. So, yeah, that is how you put them on. And then I will show you how to put on the back ports and take them off, I guess, because that's my least favorite thing about this figure. Alright, so for putting on the back pieces. So this is the red piece here. You can kind of see how the spider legs kind of angled down like that. That kind of goes down to the left, so you want it on the left side, like so. And you just pop it in like that. I'm going to try not to push them in all the way so that way I'm able to actually take them off. And then here's the opposite side. That goes there like that. And then this is the blue spot. And you kind of want the point to kind of go down to the side where you are going. So since it's on the right side, like that, like an apostrophe, you want it on the right side bottom port. And then it might look a little weird just because I'm not putting them in all the way, because they're a pain in the butt to take out. And then the last part goes like that. And then it kind of looks like that, but they kind of bulge out like that. And that's another thing that I don't like to, that's another reason why I don't like using them, is because they bulge out. I mean, I didn't put them in all the way, but even when you do, they bulge out quite a bit. So, then taking them out. I did put this one all the way, so I'm going to have a fun time taking this one out. Yeah. And that's why I hate these things. You have to kind of like twist them, and then I'm worried about like actually doing damage to the suit, which you can kind of see a little bit of a divot inside that spider there, which I'm not a big fan of. So yeah, and then the web wings, before I forget. So like I said, these have magnets on them. You do want them kind of curving up. So you want it kind of like, you want that little peak kind of pointing up when you have them face this way. And then since this side's like shorter, you do want that up. I don't know how to word it, but it's supposed to look like this. Kind of looks like it's supposed to match with the hips a little bit. Kind of sit like that. I wish there were a little bit stronger magnets, but it's supposed to sit in there like that. Wish there was a little bit of a better indicator on where the magnets are instead of just across the seams. Or you can kind of have him pinch his arms into them like that if you wanted to. So then same deal on this side. See, like the magnet caught it like that, so I guess you could do something like this. And then that's what it looks like with the wings on, which I don't usually have them on there unless you're gonna have them kind of like looking like he's gliding. So yeah. And then for that spiral web swinging effect, so I'm gonna use this web effect here, this long one that curls a little bit. I'm gonna have this kind of slide in there like that on the top, and then if this thing were not broken, you would slide this into here like so, like that. And then it kind of looks like it's just kind of like an extra spot that he's kind of like having a little bit of leeway with. So, yep, it's pretty cool. So yeah, that is the Hot Toys Marvel Spider-Man 2 video game Advanced 2.0 suit for you. I like it. It's an awesome figure. Like I said, the details are awesome on this figure. I just wish for me, it's a little nitpick, but I wish the head sculpt was fabric, so that way it hides that seam line. And I do wish that they would raise the neck up a little bit to make it seem like his head is not huge or just sitting like directly on his shoulders, because in the game he looks like he's tall, whereas in the figure it kind of looks like he's like, I don't know, the head doesn't, the placement of the head is just not quite right for me. It's just a little nitpick. I wish that they would figure out a different way to deal with these little back port pieces, because they are a royal pain in the butt, and if you want to take them out, you might do damage to them. I highly advise probably not using these unless you have a better way of taking these things out. And then the web effects, I kind of wish there was a little bit of an easier way to kind of plop the web shooting effects onto the hand, but it's just a little difficult, which I understand why it is. But besides that, the figure is awesome. Like I said, the details on this thing is awesome. The carbon fiber job on the armor pieces is awesome. The head sculpt is really good. I mean, the red matches with the suit on the head sculpt, so That's why I'm like okay with it for right now. But yeah, the blues are really good. It's a very accurate figure to the game. I like the way that his muscles kind of show through the suit, whereas some figures don't do that. You get to see like every little piece of muscle on him, and then he comes with a lot of accessories, which is a plus side, so that way you can get him into some really cool poses. The spider legs are awesome. They're actually really durable, so you could probably have him standing up with them. Just the things supporting his weight, so that way he doesn't fall. But yeah, that's really all I've got. If you guys like this video, just give me a like and subscribe to help support this channel. I'm trying to get back into the review stuff, like I said. If you guys want to check out that Marvel Spider-Man 2 Venom figure that I did, that's up. It was up since last week. But besides that, that's all I really got. It's an awesome figure. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.